Hello and welcome back to Breaking the Barrier. I'm your host, Rebel Sjeklocha, and today I am so excited to introduce you to professional calf roper and NFR qualifier, Macon Murphy. Macon, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So it's pretty easy to get caught up in results and standings and all that sort of stuff. But what I think is fun about a show like this is just kind of getting to know the person in the arena that's competing. So give us a little background about you and how you kind of got started in rodeo.
My family, I'm a generation cowboy. My grandpa and grandma, dad, mom, uncle, they all rodeoed. I was born, and about the time I could walk and swing a rope in my hand till about 7, I rodeoed. And then when I was 7 years old, I quit. Just wanted to play football, basketball. Sold my horse, everything, the whole 9 yards, and I didn't start back roping until I was 16, a freshman in high school, and just I quit football, and I was going to a school that was only Monday through Thursday, so I could play ball Monday through Thursday and practice, and then on the weekends, I guess starting Friday, I didn't have school, and we'd leave for the rodeos. But yeah, I didn't rodeo from 7 to 16 years old, and most kids that's where they're big into it. All the junior rodeos and Piney Woods, all the associations like that, Little Britches, junior highs, whatever it is. I never got any of that. I didn't get it until high school, not because it was just my choice. I just wanted to play ball at that time, and here we are now.
Yeah, absolutely. So what kind of inspired you to get back in the game after taking so much time off?
I get asked that question a lot. To be honest with you, I really don't know. I, I one day I looked up, and I don't know. I just wanted to start back, and I really there's no good explanation of if I was craving it or I missed it. I don't really think you miss anything from when you're 7 years old. I just one day I just told Dad, I said, hey, I think I want to start roping calves, and he was like, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, well, let's do it. And so we just started, and it's like when I started, he was just kind of getting out of it. He was at the end of his career. He was probably early 40s. Um, and and so we just started. But no, there was no I seen this or seen that, and it inspired me or made me want to do it. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know where I was the day I wanted to start roping again. I don't know who I was with or anything. I just up and wanted to get back to it.
Yeah, some pretty good timing for sure, and lucky that you
Yeah,
had some good mentors in your corner too. Um, how
absolutely.
how was growing up with your family immersed in rodeo? How did that help you when you decided to get back into it?
I think it helped me, and it's so different from people that don't grow up around a rodeo family or in a rodeo family. Is my dad did it professionally, and did it fairly well. Had a lot of success doing it. Grandpa as well, uncle, mom. The deal was, I guess the deal with how it helped me so much is my dad did the same exact events as I did and stuff. And when I was starting and learning, he said, it was we're not going to try it this way or try it that way. We're going to do it this way because that's where I got to skip a lot of the heartache. It's so many kids that either don't grow up in a rodeo family or somebody that had success doing it or could teach it is, well, let's try it this way, and if it doesn't work, then we'll try it this way. Instead of, I didn't have to do all that. My dad said, I know this way works because I've done it. I've tried it all the other ways. I know this doesn't work, or I know this does work. Let's do it this way. And so it felt like like I said, I got my butt kicked my first year for sure when I was 16, freshman in high school. But after when I turned a sophomore, that whole freshman year summer, we just kind of skipped all the trials and hills and offsets that I know didn't that he knew didn't work, and just when I started my sophomore year, I was winning, and I think that's because of him, and how he learned. And he, like I said, him and my grandpa, they've been there, done that, so they knew what does work and what doesn't work. And we just skipped all the things that didn't, and that knew were going to be heartache and failure, and just kind of went to the things that we knew worked, and what could get me to the winning stages, I guess.
For sure. So taking all that time off definitely has not impacted your success here recently, and certainly not as you climb the ranks. Give us the rundown of kind of climbing out of high school and then the success you had in college.
So high school had, like I said, didn't have any kind of luck freshman year. That was the first year I was back, or first year I started, and just got my butt handed to me. Which, I mean, that's part of it. You just don't jump in a game. You don't jump into anything really first year ever trying it. And it'd be different if I was starting in middle school or junior high or something like that. But I was straight into straight into freshman year, and I was going against guys like Jace Gilbert, Justin Smith, Zach Youngblood, NFR qualifiers like that were seniors, juniors, seniors in high school, and it just didn't. It was a terrible first year, and which, like I said, I knew it was going to be, but um, I just my freshman year, my freshman year of high school wasn't very good. Sophomore year takes off. I have some success throughout high school. Win state my junior year, reserve my senior year, and then I think where my career really started to take off was when I got into college under Coach Jeff Collins right there at Panola College in Carthage, Texas, and not because I roped, not because he helped me a lot with my roping game, but that guy and his mental toughness and his and his work ethic and what he put into me and into my effort and my mental game and stuff like that was unbelievable. And I'll never forget where it really seemed to click for me is it was my freshman year, and I weighed like 125 pounds, just skinny, scrawny kid, and I couldn't get a ton of muscle in high school because for one, you couldn't. It's hard to lift weights and play ball. And play basketball. It's just not really a thing. You don't want to get too big or strong. But when I got out of high school and I was done with basketball, I told coach. He came in there and he said, "Man," he said, "Can I tell you something?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You're too skinny." And I mean, he's a bareback rider, world champion bareback rider. And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm trying to gain a little weight." He said, "No, like," he said, I don't." He said, "I know you don't think I know a whole lot about the calf rope," but he said, "But I pay attention to a lot of stuff like that, and I ask around and I talk to guys, and you're gonna have to be stronger." And I said, "Yes, sir." No, I agree. And I got in the gym, and I'll never forget. I came in there in his office. I probably 2 3 months into my first semester of college, and I wouldn't have any luck at all. Not just at the college rodeos, just the circuit rodeos I was going to on a permit and the amateur rodeos. And I'll never forget. I came in there and he said, "How's it going, cowboy?" And I said, "Man, it's terrible, coach." He said, "Where you been?" I said, "I just got back from the gym right down the hall." He said, "You putting in the work?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "It's just I said I feel like I'm at a standstill, like I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just not. It's just been terrible, And he said, "Man, you want to help you out?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You're not at a standstill." He said, "You're just pushing in the clutch to catch another gear," and that stuck with me for forever. And sure enough, the next weekend it took off. I think that little quote he gave me and that little piece of information of advice he gave me just launched my entire career. Just you're not going backwards. You're not stopping. You're just pushing in the clutch to go to the next gear, to go to the next level, to elevate your game. And I think that was, like I said, that was probably 2 months into my first semester of college, and ever since then it was, like I said, there's obviously been some lows and some downs in there, but ever since then my whole mental game and the way I look at things has changed and progressed a lot in my opinion.
Absolutely. Well, it obviously must have worked with your success at the college finals, winning a national championship there. Talk about that and how that's kind of given you some momentum to continue on.
Yeah, so I won it my sophomore year. My freshman year, we go there, don't do any good in the first 2 rounds, so I have no shot of making the short round. And then I win the third round, a fast time of the college finals, win the rookie, and then our team wins men's national title. And I'll never forget, I walked over there to Jeff, and he was there, and he was, just super excited. We had a bull rider named Dalen Swearingen, who's ended up being a PBR world champion, win the bull riding that year, and he won the men's team. And he was just plumb tickled. He was happy. And I was not. Like, I mean, I was happy that we won it and Dalen won it and stuff. But I mean, I wanted to I told Jeff I was going to give him a national championship before I left of my own. And I'll never forget, I pulled him aside where everybody was kind of celebrating, happy. And I said, "I'm telling you right now," I said, "Jeff, when I get back here next year, I'm bringing you a national title." And he kind of, and like most coaches or family members, friends, like, "Oh, yeah, that's the spirit, cowboy." he didn't smile, he didn't crack a grin, nothing. He said, "I know you are." He said, "I'll do whatever I can to help you get there." And sure enough, next year come back and I think maybe win the first round, place in the second and third round, win first or second in the short round, win the college finals. And it was, I'll never forget when I walked around the buck and shoot, he was crying. He said, "Man, I knew you could do it." I said, "We were right here 1 year ago." I said, "When I told you I was going to give you a national title," he said, "I knew you were." He said, "I never smiled." He said, I knew you're all business." I told him, "I thank you. I appreciate it, coach, and I love you." And we cried and stuff. But it was no, it was a really cool experience. And I feel like not a lot of people have the bond and kind of relationship with their college coach. It's just kind of we're in there for 2 years, 4 years, whatever it is to get your degree and you're gone. But that guy has helped me tremendously in my career. And like I said, just the way I look at things and my work ethic and everything like that. But to give him a national championship and get one of my own was pretty cool. It was especially in that town that's so close to my hometown. It was almost like a hometown win.
Absolutely. So you have all of these wins kind of racking up from the high school level to college. You have all these people in your corner who are really helping you get at your best. At what point did you make the decision to start rodeoing professionally?
I honestly, I probably went a year too early, if we're being honest. I went in 2020, it was COVID year, and I don't know what it was. I only had one horse at the time, and I, I like I said, I really do think I went too early, just 1 year. I just wasn't prepared, but a lot of it is it's just getting out there and getting your feet wet and kind of seeing what it's like and what the difference is. And there is a ton of difference between at the time I was making circuit finals and stuff like that and was on my permit making all the amateur finals in Texas and Louisiana. And those are super tough associations, don't get me wrong. Joe Beaver once told me if you can when you can win in your circuit and win in the amateur rodeos in Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, then you're ready to go. And I was doing all that, but I think for me my team of horses wasn't ready yet. Like I said, I only had one, um, but I had like I said, I needed to go. I felt like I needed to go just to kind of see what it was like. And I wouldn't say I wasted my rookie year or anything like that, but I didn't get into any of the buildings. I think it took like top 45 or 40 or something like that in the world to get in the buildings for next year. And I think I ended up like 47th maybe or 46th. So I was just right out of missing it. And I just, but it was a learning experience for me. Like I'm the type of guy that if I don't do good, I don't just get pissed off and go to the truck or go to the trailer or whatever. I stick around and I watch guys, whether they're doing a good job or bad job. If he did something wrong, I'm gonna say, okay, he did that wrong. I'm not going to do that. Or if I watch somebody that does makes a great run, okay, how did he make that run? Just kind of study and pick things apart from runs. But I cracked out in 2020. That was my rookie year, and I mean it was just a learning process, and like the COVID year, I bet you we only went to 40 or 50 rodeos maybe, and I don't even think I won 20,000, and uh, it was tough, I mean, because we were driving just as far or further than we are now for $1,000 added rodeos that we're going to pay 8, 9, 1,200, whatever it might be. And when now I look back and look at some of those rodeos I went to, and I'm like, my gosh, we went to those rodeos. We drove 12 hours to go to Iowa or wherever we were for $900, and but that's just how it was that year. There was only a few people, a few committees were putting on rodeos because of COVID, and but no, it was like my freshman year of high school all over again. I kind of got my butt handed to me, and it seemed like when I got down to my last dollar and need to go home, I'd win a big rodeo, and I almost wish I'm not saying I wish I lost, but was like, golly, if I could have just went broke, I could have went home right there. But sure enough, I'd win 5,000 at one of the big ones they'd have, or 4,000 at this one. Like, golly, I got to stay out here, and keep going. But no, it dang sure but between that and Jeff calling me and helping me with my head, my mental game, that it was a trying year for sure. But like I said, 2020, my rookie year was just a whole just a learning experience for me. Really, it was just me getting my tail kicked in. Honestly.
Absolutely. So, since you got started in 2020 to now, at the time of this conversation, it's March or April, sorry, April of 24. What would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned in the span of 3.5, 4 years?
not to worry about. Honestly, it's probably not to worry about what anybody else is doing, and it's not every. You're not gonna. Not every single calf's a 7 second calf, and I think that was where I matured so much in my game from 2020 to now is if I rodeos now are paying anywhere from 8 to 15 places, and you don't have to win first or second. I mean, I think when it really clicked for me was in 22 when I made the finals, and since then it's been clicking. But it's just if you don't have a first, second, third place calf, go be whatever that calf will let you be. If the fastest he'll let you be is 12.4, then just go be 12.4. I mean, and like I said, it might suck, but that's just a part of it. The whole timed event deal is just a drawing contest. And so when they draw you one that's not a 7 second calf, but he's an 8 second calf, and you can win sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth on him, then go win sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Because those, I mean, you're still talking about 2, 3, 4,000 depending on where you're at, dollars in your pocket for winning sixth through 10th or whatever it might be. And I think when I was a rookie and young and or younger, I was just trying to win. Thinking no matter what they drew, I can make him a first, second calf, and that's just not true, And like I said, if you get an 8 second calf that you can win fifth on, I feel like back when I was a rookie, I was trying to win first on him and turn him into a 7 second calf. And instead of tying him in eight and winning whatever I was supposed to win, I was messing him up and tying him in 13. And I think that's where I've matured a lot in my game from 2020 to now is just when they run you that calf in there for first, dang sure go at him, try to win first. But if you don't have one of the better ones on them, and you just need to stay in the average or time and nine flat is the fastest he'll let you time, then time in nine flat and get what you're supposed to win and go on to the next one.
Absolutely. So take us through your finals experience, what that was like for you, and kind of what your takeaways were at the tail end of it.
So the whole NFR was surreal to me. I'm not even gonna say it. I told me and Kincaid we're dang good friends, and we both made it our first year the same year, and we're like, man, it's gonna be so crazy. I can't wait till we get there. It's just gonna be like mind blowing, and it was awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I think I think I had run that first one and the Thomas and Max so many times over in my head and envisioned it and just knew I was going to get there. Just knew no matter what I'm going to get there. When we backed in, Kincaid said the same thing. He said, when I backed in, man, it was just like a slack run. I'm telling you, it was the same thing for me. By the ninth or 10th round, we were dang sure ready to go home. I mean, it's exhausting out there between all the interviews and the autographs and the photo sessions and whatever it might be. And it starts so early out there on the West Coast, so everybody else can watch it on the Central and East. But it it'll dang sure take a toll on you. But it was a blast. It was just surreal. I think. I mean, you're just a movie rock star for 10 days, 2 weeks out there. It's just rodeo nation out there. So it was pretty cool, and I dang sure wouldn't mind going back.
Absolutely. So the finals is obviously a pretty cool experience in of itself, but there are so many rodeos growing across the country that are kind of stepping up, of course, in money awarded, but also just in the atmosphere that they provide. Do you have any favorite rodeos that you've went to so far this year, or just in general that maybe not compare to the finals, but come pretty close?
So my favorite winter building is, and will always probably be, Houston. Just that place is enormous, and I've seemed to have good luck there the three times I've been in there. And the hospitality and stuff like that. I mean, you're playing in the Houston Texans Stadium. That's what's crazy to me. Is I grew up a New England Patriots fan, and so Houston and Dallas were close to home. 2.5, 3 hours. So we'd go, watch football games there, watch the Patriots and stuff, and it's just crazy to me. I was there when I was a kid, and I was like, man, I watched NFL teams like billionaires in here play, and now you're in here roping calves for a living. It's pretty cool. So I'd say Houston is probably my favorite winter rodeo, and my favorite summer rodeo is Deadwood, South Dakota. And it's real cool weather. They got a little stream right behind the arena that I go fishing in every year, and my girlfriend's usually out there. She's flown out the week before during Cheyenne, and so we go hang out and eat dinner and fish and stuff like that. And it's pretty cool. But no, it's dang sure not because I've won a boatload of money there. Like I said, I've won $85 there in my career, but that's probably my favorite summer rodeo.
Yeah, that it's funny you say that because that's been a repeat answer on the show so far. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
You mentioned in 2020 you cracked out with just one horse. Talk about the horses that you're using now and what your lineup kind of looks like.
So my lineup is my good one right now. My number one is a horse I call West, a little beige brown horse that's just a he's just a like a little toddler. He just all over the like he's not wound up. Real gentle, deadhead, just follow you around wherever you go. That me and my dad trained. I bought from a good friend of mine in South Louisiana. Just kind of started as a breakaway horse, and we trained him and finished him out in the tie down. And he actually wasn't supposed to. He really wasn't supposed to be where he is right now. So last year my good horse, my was at the time my good horse, my number one was a little horse I called Julian, and that's one of the horses me and my dad trained. And I rode at the first NFR, won the college finals on him, and I actually seasoned him my senior year of high school. And so I took him, I took Julian, my good one, and then this horse I call West now. He was just green at the time, and needed some rodeos. And I took him out there and I said, if I know I have a terrible calf or if it's muddy or something like that, or if I don't have a really good chance on this calf or whatever it might be, I'll ride him and kind of season him. And when I'm in between rodeos, if I got somewhere to practice, I'll run some on him and just kind of keep him, kind of just show him some things, get him tuned up. Well, sure enough, right before Cowboy Christmas, I think it was last week of June, right before Cowboy Christmas and all that started, we were headed to Oakley, Utah. Rope there on Julian, my good one, at Oakley, Utah. Don't do any good. And I unload him at Livingston, Montana, and he's limping. And I'm like, golly. So I drop him off. I'm going to, I think, like Hamill, Minnesota and Spooner, Wisconsin the next week, like two smaller rodeos. I mean, not easier, but just, not as many entries and stuff like that. So I said, well, I'll just leave Julian here at a vet in Montana and I'll take Wes. And I'm thinking abscess. He's because it had been raining. I walked him across on some rocks in a parking lot. I said he's got an abscess or a stone bruise, something like that. I go and take Wes, and sure enough, he works good. And I went a good bit over there, and I'm going to pick Julian up on the way to Calgary. And the vet calls me. I said, hey doc, how's it going? Did you get that abscess of bus? And he said, and he's like, it's like quiet for like 5 seconds, and he's like, man, man, I'm sorry. Like, so and so didn't tell you. I said, no. What are you talking about? And he said, man, Julian, he's got a fractured sesamoid in his left hind. Like, he's done for a while. And I said, okay, like, how long? 2, 3 weeks. He's like, man, you're closer to a year. And I said, are you serious? And I'll never forget. Like, I just stopped. Like, everything went numb, and I was just like sitting there. I was like, oh my gosh. And he was like, yeah, man, like we just need to send him home and give him time off. And I immediately sent him to my girlfriend in Florida. She rehabs horses and has all kinds of tools and machines and stuff like that. Like that's what she does is rehab horses. But I was stuck out there with a horse I just finished training that honestly probably had about 4 jackpots and probably 10 rodeos under his belt. And next up was Calgary. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this could not, and I'm probably 13th, 14th, 15th in the world. Like, this could not have happened at a worse time. And so my good friend Randall Carlisle was out there, and he ended up letting me on his little dun at Calgary. But back to the subject was Wes didn't really have a choice. Like he was the one horse I had out there, and he was out there for a backup in the first place. And then your star player goes down, and here he is all alone. We're 2,000 miles away from home, and I had another star horse at home that I call Wiz that I ended up riding at the finals in 22, and he was fat, out of shape, not ready. And I called Dad and said, "Hey, you're gonna have to get him in shape." And he said, "Well, it's gonna be like at least 2, 3 weeks before I can get him out there and get him in shape. You're gonna have to ride Wes." And the first week and a half was kind of a struggle. He's just not so sure about things yet. It's just not, very rarely do you just take a horse that you train and just throw him to the wolves and he picks up. But about 2.5, 3 weeks in, he clicked, and by then I was so far behind and money won and stuff like that. I just didn't really have a chance. And I like I said, I missed a lot of opportunities last year to make the finals. Not saying that the horse going down was the problem, but the danger didn't help the situation. But no, Wes didn't have a choice. He got thrown to the wolves, and it, like I said, last year Julian going down, it hurt, but it was also kind of a blessing because Wes honestly now is my number one horse, and Julian, he's almost back, to full. So I'll have both of them for this summer. and I got 3 or 4 young ones that are about at where Wes was last year, just needing some seasoning. But like I said, Julian going down really did suck, and it was almost like a dagger in the heart. But looking back at it now, I'm like, that was kind of a blessing, because Wes he's pretty much as solid as they get. He doesn't do anything wrong. He scores, runs, stops, pulls every time, and then loads up in the trailer and wants to go to the next one. So he's dang sure been a huge part of my success that I've had this year and the end of last year, 2023 season.
Yeah, trial by fire, I guess.
Right, exactly.
So at the time of our conversation, you're sitting inside the top 15, 12th at the moment. Give us the recap of your season so far and what you kind of hope to accomplish the rest of the season.
So my season's been fairly easy so far. I don't usually go to a ton of rodeos in the winter. I think you kind of think like, man, if this rodeo is going, I got to get to it, and well, the counts, you can only account 80 rodeos, for your season. And if you leave by the summer and you've got some rodeos racked up, that you're going to run out. You know what I mean? You're going to get in the bind at the end of the year. And I've heard nightmare stories like that of people like, man, I was right there 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and I ran out of rodeos, and I dang sure ran out my 2021, the year after my rookie year, which I didn't have a chance to make in the NFR, but I was on the bubble for the buildings and just barely cleared in. And so in the winter, yeah, no, I'll get my circuit rodeos in down there in Louisiana, Florida, Alabama, stuff like that, and then I only go to Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Angelo. Those are the only rodeos I go to. I don't go to Denver. I don't go to Rapid. I don't go to Tucson, Mercedes, any of those. Just when you get out here in the summer, every single rodeo you go to pretty much is a great rodeo, and it's hard to remember that in the winter. You're like, man, that one adds 2,500. That's a pretty good rodeo for now. Whereas in the summer, if you see a rodeo with 2,500 add, you're like, I'm not going to that, man. So and so down the road adds 25,000. Like, why would I go to that one? And it's not, like I said, it's not just 4 or 5 of them in the summer. It's every one you go to pretty much adds 7,500 or more. It seems like. So I think just saving my rodeos and going to the big ones and going to the ones that I need to go to for sure. But like I said, I don't. At the most you'll ever see me with is 20, maybe 25 rodeos before I go to Reno, and then I'll have 55 rodeos to just put the gas pedal to the floor and go at them as hard as I can for 3.5, 4 months.
Yeah, absolutely. So going to all these rodeos, you have a front row seat at what's going on at all the big major ones. Then, of course, the big changes that are happening in the industry. What about being involved in professional rodeo right now excites you, or what are some changes that you see on the horizon that you're excited about?
I think the publicity and like what the Cowboy Channel's done for for rodeo and cowboys and cowgirls is just unreal, and it's almost like it is a professional sport, but it's starting to really feel like it. Like we're professional athletes. You're at the the cream of the crop, when you get down to the top 20, 15, 20 in the world, and it's kind of, they're starting to kind of finally make you feel like it, you know what I mean? Like there for years, there wasn't a lot of publicity. You weren't seeing a run unless so and so sent it to you over the phone, or whatever it is. And now you can, on your phone, your TV, whatever it is, you can just go on at any point in time and watch a rodeo and get interviews, like just almost like an actual professional sport, and I think it's outstanding for the sport of rodeo. Just these guys, we put in just as much or more work than any other professional athlete in the world. Why wouldn't we get some publicity, some sponsors, whatever it might be, just like any other thing, NFL, NBA, soccer, whatever it might be, and I think the hard work and all the dedication is finally starting to come to attention, just because of the Cowboy Channel and all these podcasts and stuff like that. That's awesome. I think I can remember 4 or 5 years ago going down the road listening to podcasts, and there were not hardly any rodeo podcasts. You know what I mean? You were having to listen to Tom Brady or Drew Brees or football players, Michael Jordan, whatever it might be. And now, you can go on there and look at the greats in rodeo, Joe Beaver, Ty Murray, whoever it might be. That's a common thing now, and I think it was definitely due. The rodeo world was due for something like that, and I think not just the Cowboy Channel, but anything, podcasts, TV shows, sponsors, all of it. I think it's just that it's taken a turn for the better, and it's man, it's really interesting to watch, and I'm pretty excited for it, especially this time in my career.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's fun to see rodeo and the Western lifestyle get the credit that it deserves. You're currently recording this in your trailer going down the road, so you're obviously hustling in multiple regards. But as we kind of close out our conversation today, one question I love to ask people as we start to wrap things up is, what's a piece of advice that you have received that you'd like to pass along to our listeners?
I think, and if we're passing on to listeners, or somebody who's, and it doesn't have to be in rodeo or anything like that, is if you want to be great, the best, whatever it is, that's fine. Or if you just want to be average, that's fine. I mean, nobody's telling you to work, but I think when I put lessons and clinics on, and kids come up to me or their parents come up to me and they say, hey, what piece of advice do you have for Billy or whoever it is? I say, if you're not working, that's fine. You want to take a day off, that's fine. No problem with it. But somebody out there is working, and everybody's like, well, we didn't practice today, but we didn't get worse. You actually did, because life and rodeo and any kind of sport or competition, it's a totem pole. And if you're just not working today or any day, whatever it might be, you are getting worse because somebody's passing you. And that's what I tell my kids or my students and people that come and get lessons and stuff is, if you are not working, somebody else is. And I think that's what just drove me insane for years, is the fact that I know if I'm sitting in the house on the couch eating chips or doing whatever I'm doing, if I'm not putting in work, somebody else is. And that kept me up for a long time. And it definitely still gets the fire burning to me. So that's what I tell anybody that needs advice or wants to know what I think or how I got to where I am, is just, if you're not working, somebody else is.
Absolutely. Well, is there anything that we missed that you'd like to share with people?
As long as you're happy, I'm happy. But no,
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to visit with us today. This has been a very insightful conversation, and I'm excited to share it with our listeners.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all very much for having me.
Once again, that was Macon Murphy, NFR calf roper, and he's currently on the road. We're excited to watch him the rest of the 2024 season. We'll catch you later.
Thank you.